Lane, but of course your acting career credentials are just so various and so long. You've been in the business for such a long time. Is it an albatross around your neck, the fact that you're known as Lois Lane, although you are an actor, and you know with Amityville and with Black Christmas and Sisters, you are known to do other roles.
I am, but at this point, I'm 66. I have 2 grandchildren who are about to become adults, which is always a shock. There's a great poster that says, inside every old person is a young person going, what the hell happened? And that's about how it works. And so I am now so proud to be able to say, my grandchildren watched Superman and they loved it. Gosh, I was part of a classic. That it fills me with gratitude and a sense of having part of something really that's bigger than myself that's important, and I'm thrilled by it. There was a period in my career where I wanted to only play tortured young drug addicts or whatever, somehow thinking that if I could act out all the turmoil inside me, then I'd be free. I don't know what I thought. But so there was a point in which the leading lady role didn't appeal to me.
We're going to open it up to the crowd for some questions. And one final Superman thing. Marlon Brando was never on set with you folks, right?
No, I knew Marlon from a movie called Missouri Breaks that my first husband had written. And I was directing the documentary on the making of it. So I wasn't there when he arrived, but I heard lots of stories and talked to him afterwards.
All right.
The Smallville one, actually, I thought that was a terrific series for young people, really terrific. And was knocked out by the acting, knocked out by all the kids in all the roles. When they cast me, and I thought, what am I going to do with this? Well, let me try and make her a little alive some way. Well, so I tried to make her a little alive and perky and funny, but the dialogue didn't lend itself to that. And I got on the set having overdone my homework, which is a problem. And the director kept saying, no, she's mysterious. Now, if there's one thing I'm not, it's mysterious. So I went, mysterious. So he kept saying, bring it down, bring it down. And pretty soon I felt as if I were acting on IV Valium or something. I just thought, man, this woman's really a drag. So I didn't really like the character, but I loved being on the set and hooking up with Annette again and getting to talk to her about the old days. And I just have nothing but admiration for those wonderful actors on that. There's this whole underground cult of horror movies and this kind of movie and that kind of movie. I must say I don't know half of who the characters are. But in the last 3 or 4 years, I've noticed more and more people coming up with pictures of Black Christmas and video covers. And I'm going, wow, I own part of this. I should be getting some checks in the mail. That's thought number one. But also, it really does, strangely, I don't know why or how, seem to be having a little revival. We were kids when we made it. We made it on no money. Andrea Martin and I became friends on that. She was a hoot. And we hung out afterwards like sorority girls. So I think all the fun in that is in the movie.
Yeah, Martin, he appeared in the remake of Pretty Wrong.
Who did?
Yeah, she's in it.
Huh.
Yeah. She plays like the head mistress of the girl in the remake. You might like her role in it. I'm not sure you're going to like the remake though.
I think they had a remake, didn't they?
They remade it almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd you get this part of Lois Lane Superman?
I got the part of Lois Lane Superman. I was living in Montana. I just had a baby. Oh no, I had her a year and a half before actually. And I was desperate to work, and I'd had this wild and crazy romance with her dad. And then he persuaded me to move to Montana, and I got pregnant, and suddenly he wanted me to turn into a little housewife, like cook, clean, and take care of the babies and that. And it was like, no. I think there's an expiration date coming up here. And so that didn't work. So when I was on my way to the screen test for Superman, truthfully what I was thinking is you have to get this part because you don't have the emotional guts to get out of the relationship unless somebody else boots you out of it. And if you get the part, he will boot you out of it. He doesn't think women should work. So that's why I got the part. I just went, look as if you love Superman. I didn't know who he was going to be. Look as if you love him. The Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. It's never happened before that 30 years later, a director gets to go back and finish his vision. So that's for you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would just sit there with my jaw hanging over and watching, jaw hanging open. And I would often forget that I was in the scene and supposed to say a line because I'd be going, wow, he's good. Where'd that come from? And suddenly everybody's looking at me like, Pat? So that was his choice with Donner's. I don't know how they negotiated that as a choice, but I liked it. I thought it worked.
Sir.
Yes, how did you like playing the mother on the Wakanda Cheetah TV show?
Oh, well, I loved it because the young girl was my niece, Janet Tibbet, who's a brilliant actress and a wonderful person. And so it was really fun to get to work with her. Making Superman 4?
And I know we'll have a bigger budget.
Well, here's what happens with movies. There's a lot of greedy people in the movie industry like anywhere else. And there's a lot of people who just want to be rich and famous for its own sake, not for doing good work. And so when people get a franchise that works, sometimes, and the Salkin brothers were two people like that, they just want to hold on to it and knock off the sequels fast, dirty, and cheap. So that's what they did. They cut the budget way, way down. You couldn't possibly have done the effects you were supposed to.
It was produced by Canon Films back then.
It was bought by Canon
Yeah.
Films, but Canon Films didn't have much better reputation because Menachem Golan then went on to direct and produce the worst production of the Brothers Karamazov, I think it was the Brothers Karamazov, ever in history, which we did in Moscow. But a lot of people in the business are all about the money. So if you've got some Superman 4 and you think, well, it's guaranteed to make money, so it doesn't really matter what I do. Let's take out those extra legs. Let's do this, let's do that.
Just one last question about Superman 4. I heard a story that was great, but was going to direct Superman 4 at one point because he directed Swamp Thing for DC Comics. What I heard was apparently Christopher Reeve was praising directing Superman 4 because apparently Christopher Reeve didn't like his movies. I wonder if you heard about that, if it was true or not.
I know nothing about that.
Okay.
Nothing. No. The first thing about that scene is my daughter, who was on the set all the time, was not allowed to watch Mommy get crushed in an earthquake. So somebody in the crew always took Maggie off and did her makeup or played something with her, whatever. The second was, the first time, I'd done 10 movies before my mother ever watched one. She didn't like movies, she just liked good books. And she'd look at these horror movies like Sisters and goes, oh, it's perfectly dreadful, thank you, I don't think I need to go. So but I invited her to come on the set I think we were in Drumheller when we filmed a lot of the earthquake. And we were doing a shot where I was in the car and the car was buckling back and forth and I was screaming. And they had it on a platform on sort of springs, and they had two grips in the front. Grips are sort of electrician guys who do everything and everything. Two in the back, and they were bouncing the thing up and down, forward, back, and every which way. And another two guys were lifting and collapsing a telephone pole, same pole, over and over. And then cut, and I was screaming. Cut, and then I heard this very distinctive laugh from the corner, and my mother went, "Is this how you've been earning your living all these years?" And that's my most vivid memory of that particular scene.